Hello, kind and handsome patrons of the channel. I'm Big Charles, and I've got another run of NIGHTREIGN today. I am playing my solo, tailored, rogue-inspired Duchess build, relics on screen. This build takes advantage of status effects, Evergaol buffs, and light stealth elements, courtesy of the Knight of the Miasma relic. This video is not intended as any sort of guide or walkthrough, but simply a showcase of my playstyle with some commentary. This video will be slightly more edited than my last full run upload, in hopes that this will make it a more concise viewing experience for you. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy. So starting off, we get the church drop, and while it is nice to get a flask pickup out of the way early, I don't love this drop as it takes a little more effort to reach level 2 before I can just enter my first point of interest. So I go and kill a skeleton and maybe a couple noblemen just to pick up that level. Immediately after hitting level 2, I path to the nearby fort with the intention of killing some mobs, the boss, hitting level 3, and most importantly, hopefully finding a stone sword key in the metal chest at the top of the fort. It's a common through line in runs that utilize the Evergaol prisoner relic effect that there will be a lot of forts and great churches being hit because they have guaranteed metal chests, and those chests have a very high probability of dropping more stone sword keys, which ultimately just means more damage. If you were unaware, the abductor virgins are incredibly weak to lightning damage. I grabbed the lightning grease outside because I saw the health bars from outside, and whenever there's health bars popping up in a fort, that means it's an abductor virgin. It's the only boss that I know of in the game that will fight other enemies in its native spawn. This is a nice quick little example of me making use of the frostbite enabled stealth mechanic that the Knight of the Miasma relic offers. I believe it's a unique effect to that relic, and it's very nice to run on Duchess. It allows for a lot of backstabs, it's very easy to proc frost and reproc frost with your restage ability, and you'll see in this next fight how strong it can be for solos. So pulling up to my first Evergaol of the run here, this fight that I get is usually an absolute nightmare for solos, especially Duchess, especially this early. It's all bad, but luckily I can open up with a strong fire pot, get a frost proc, and then just watch how this goes from there. Having such a large group allows me to freely proc and reproc frost, as well as my partial invisibility, and just weave between them effortlessly. A fight that's normally a long-winded pain in the ass is turned into a fairly clean endeavor, thanks to this relic effect and some fairly smart plays. After grabbing the stone sword key upstairs, I go down to kill the Mausoleum Knight. He's immune to status effect, so I just buff with lightning paper, Dunzo, and the game blesses me with one of my favorite setups on Duchess, which is main hand dagger, off hand wakizashi. The interesting thing about the wakizashi is that, for the sake of power stance eligibility, the game considers it a katana and not a dagger, despite its dagger moveset. I like this so much because I do not like the power stance dagger moveset, but I do like having access to two discrete daggers with different strengths on Duchess. So what this means for this run is essentially, I can use my main hand dagger to proc frost and poison on my target, and then use my offhand wakizashi for its higher base AR and bleed buildup, an easily re-applicable status effect, all without having to worry about soft or hard swapping, and with the added perk of the wakizashi's already higher AR being buffed even more by my relic effects, giving me more damage against poisoned and frostbitten enemies. This simply offers a level of fluidity and versatility that is hard to find with any other setup on Duchess, or any other character, for that matter. I then yearn for the mines and decide to go get myself a purple smithing stone for later. It's always a good idea to hit Evergaols and grab stone sword keys that are near the edge of the map when given the opportunity, so I decide to do just that. Many people online seem to think Duchess's ult is useless, to which I strongly disagree. It's certainly not the most powerful in the game, and you have to be a bit creative, but it literally makes you invisible, which can get you out of a lot of bad situations, especially as a solo. You just have to use it. Just try it out, guys. If you're playing Duchess and you never use the ult except to res, consider using it when you get hit really hard, or you need to maneuver through a large group, perhaps. With the storm closing in, I decide to dip quickly into this magic fort. I usually call this layout large fort. And I go and grab a stone sword key, and though I probably could go and kill the boss, Crystallion is very unfun and time consuming to fight with a dagger. Ultimately, a lot of this time does end up wasted. I'll probably just cut it out of the video, honestly. I kind of run around and kill a couple trash mobs. But the important thing is I grabbed a stone sword key. And whenever you're running this relic strategy, it's good to remember that you can simply enter a point of interest, grab a stone sword key, and leave. Sometimes that's the right play. I also got a Wending Grace and upgraded my starting dagger to purple, as I plan to use that on Adel at the end of the run. And we're gonna skip now to the Night 1 boss. It ends up being the Duke's Dear Freya. I have very little to say about fighting this boss. If it's really troubling you, I don't think there's anything I could say to help you. It's fairly easy and variably annoying depending on what character you're playing and what weapon you're using. So I'll just let it play in case you want to watch it. There are, of course, timestamps below if you've seen enough of Duke's Dear Freya for one lifetime. I decide then to take the bird up the right side of the map halfway to the Evergaol and field boss there, as that's usually a pretty efficient way to move from this end of day location. Now notice the map icon I ping right here. That's known as the village, the town, big merchant, big merch. And it's very important to hit that on solo runs, as well as if you're doing the Evergaol strategy solo or with a team. He sells an extra Wending Grace and a Stone Sword key guaranteed, so with a team you can all get Stone Sword keys. They're very cheap, they're 6,000 runes. So that can potentially be just all the Stone Sword keys you need for your team at the point in the run that you make it to him. It's very worth going to visit Big Merch. Now with the rain coming in, I make the on-the-fly decision to go and prioritize this church I have pinged as well as the Evergaol next to it, because that grafted scion is actually just barely in the circle, so if I want to, I can go back and finish him anytime before night starts to close in. You should always be prioritizing things that are near circle but outside when you get that message that the night is closing in. Here I go up to visit the bubble-blowing babies at the Holy Great Church, and something I've realized is it seems that this church has a 0% chance to spawn the metal chest, at least where the other churches do. I'm not sure if maybe it spawns somewhere else, let me know in the comments, but I generally find it's not worth it for the Stone Sword strategy to even bother with this location. So here you'll see me continue to apply the principle of working from the outside in. I know that I can go and pick up a flask, a stone sword key, and clear the Evergaol near the northwest edge of the circle, and likely still have time to kill that ulcerated tree spirit on my way back without ever being touched by the rain. But I think my time would be stretched much more thin, and I'd likely get caught out at some point if I were to kill the tree spirit first and then work my way out towards the edge. You just have to kind of path in a logical order, considering where the rain's going to be soonest. So after cleaning up those two jabronis at the Evergaol, I head back to finish my business with the ulcerated tree spirit before night closes in. So something you absolutely should know about this end of day 2 boss is that if you are playing solo or even in a team and both your teammates are down, essentially only the hippo will attack you. The Crucible Knight will walk around, he'll have his shield up sometimes, he'll occasionally do that poke that you just saw him do. But if you just focus on the hippo, you're essentially 1v1ing him with a Crucible Knight, cheering him on. And so for me in solo, whenever the hippo spawns in, I just immediately pivot my attention to be 99% on the hippo, and he's quite easy to kill. As you can see, my damage has been ramped quite significantly by the Evergaol relic, and just like that, the hippo's gone, and I can go back to fighting a Crucible Knight. This is one of the easier day 2 bosses, but it might not appear so at first glance. And just a note regarding Adel, since I'm just going to let you watch the boss fight. A lot of people complain that he moves around too much, and to that I say, you chase him too much. I think of this fight kind of like a bullfight in which I'm the matador. I just let him run by me, hit him a couple times, and let him run back. Rinse and repeat. It's extremely simple. With a little bit of practice, you should be able to get this boss fight down easily. Hope you enjoy watching, and I'll talk to you at the end. Alright everybody, thanks for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying Everdark Folger right now. I might do a video like this on him, let me know if you'd like to see that. Hope this was informative and entertaining, and maybe even gave you the confidence to try an Everdark Sovereign solo yourself. I have been, am, and will continue to be Big Charles. Give me a like and subscribe, come on, give me it. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks so much.